Hello, welcome to another episode of the Virtual Ninja Show. Today we are going to talk about bulk senders insight, and I could have not asked for someone better to join me here. Puneet, please introduce yourself.
I'm a senior product manager with MDO team. I own this feature called Bulk. So Bulk is basically all these newsletter, promotional, transactional type of emails, basically the mass communication emails which are sent. And obviously these needs to be filtered out as well because uh, there are different user preferences to bulk email, and we need to honor them and filter out some of the emails which are not needed. So in this particular session, I'm going to talk about this bulk sender insights on how you can achieve the optimal bulk thresholds in your tenant to get the most out of this filter.
So, what brought you to coming up with this feature? So, what is the problem with those marketing emails, campaigns, newsletter? So, why is this feature invented?
That's a good question. Basically, if you see a phishing email, right, it is unwanted universally. Nobody wants to have a phishing email in their inbox, right? But when it comes to bulk, it boils down to user preferences. So there are few users who want some kind of marketing emails, but then admins don't want to allow them. Similarly, there are different kinds of email, like say one-time passwords or phone verifications and stuff like that.
Mhm.
These are needed by the users. So there are different kinds of emails which are wanted and which involves user preferences, which is a tough problem. Like as I said in the beginning, if you're talking about phishing emails, those are not wanted by anyone. But if you're talking about bulk emails, there are two layers of things. One is what the admin wants and what the user wants. So this particular tool will help balance both of these. So that's what brought me to this particular feature to design it in this way.
So, I read your blog, and it means that also these kind of emails, they would lead to false positives or false negatives.
Right.
If not, if the tool doesn't exist. So, and the tool, I think, started rolling out in August for our customers. So it's still pretty new and exciting. So that's why we have that episode. And there is 3 key features within that tool. What are these 3 features?
I won't call this as 3 different features. It's all packaged into one. But there are like 4 different components to this, which will help the admin to make an informed decision. So previously, what used to happen with bulk was admins used to take a call without knowing what are they choosing for. Like the default was set to 7. No, admins never knew what will 7 do. But with this particular tool, they can actually simulate different bulk thresholds, and they'll be able to see different senders who will be blocked, who will be allowed, what emails will be delivered, what are the potential false positive, what are the potential false negatives.
Mm-hmm. And I think that simulation is pretty awesome because it goes back, if I remember correctly, 60 days of that real data of that specific tenant, right? It's not we are making up some emails and tell you, look, this is how it could look like. So it's
Right.
actually really within the customer tenant. Um,
Right.
So, and I would assume in our documentation also we have those meanings for the different measurement volumes. There is a couple of sliders with different numbers. So number 7 is high, good. What's number 7 in our the threshold?
Right. So BCL1 is considered to be bulk senders who are very, they're wanted by the users as well as admins. Whereas BCL9 means that those are kind of unwanted, and we see many complaints about those senders coming from all our submissions and so on. So 1 being good and 9 being bad.
Okay, thank you. So, and then Puneet, is this on by default? Do customers have to activate the feature and configure something, or is basically our default already there and now customers can start sliding the bars left and right?
Right. So there are 2 parts to this. The bulk threshold is on by default, which is set to 7, which is available for all customers. And when you come to bulk sender insights, which is a simulation tool which helps with the bulk sender threshold, Even this is available to customers, and now customers can come and simulate here and see what level fits them best.
Yeah, true. So you basically simulate, of course, the insights, and then you go back to the actual configuration and set the value that came out of your simulation that fits best your organization.
Yep, that's right.
So we talked about that one number, which is that specific threshold, but there's more sliders. So can we just have a quick look into what all the different sliders are?
Before we get into the details of the bulk sliders here, I want to explain the whole setup here so that you get a comprehensive understanding of what is happening here. And then we can talk about these sliders and how that impacts the whole simulation process.
Yeah.
So if you see, there are 4 different sections here. The first one is the sliders section, which is basically where all the simulation and all the magic happens by click of just a button. And then there is a mid section, which gives you bulk level wise details about all the emails coming into your system, as well as the emails which are delivered into your system. And once you move all these bulk sliders, the emails which you will receive in your system. So there are 3 different informations which are provided in the mid section. And if you look at the extreme right, there you have a section which is an aggregate view of all of this. It says that, hey, at this particular bulk email levels, you'll be getting so many emails and so many emails will be blocked. And again, it gives a futuristic thing as well, saying that, hey, how many emails will be delivered with the new bulk threshold and how many will be blocked, so on and so forth.
And BCL is this bulk sender level?
Yes, it's a bulk complaint level.
Complaint level. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically that tells how bad or good is that particular bulk sender among the whole population.
Thank you.
If you actually scroll down, you will have the 4th section here, which is basically the sender details. So all the things which you're seeing above is basically the emails. But when you come down, you look at each sender, which bulk complaint level they are on, and what is the sender quality in this particular tenant. And with this, the new threshold sliders, will that particular sender be blocked? And if they are blocked, will it cause an FB? So I'll explain with an example so that you'll understand this better and how this works. So if you look at the screen now, the current bulk threshold as well as the new bulk threshold is set at 7, and the simulation sender quality threshold is set at 50. So before I move ahead, I have explained you about bulk email threshold previously, but let me also try to explain the simulation sender quality here. So simulation sender quality is nothing but the reputation of that particular sender in your tenant. What I mean by that is, say you have received 100 emails from this particular sender. Out of these 100 emails, what percentage of emails are wanted by your users in your tenant or even the admin? What percentage of emails? So currently, if you see on the screen, it is set at 50, which means that 50% of users wanted that particular sender's email in their inbox, and 50% of the users didn't want that particular sender's email in their inbox.
So does it mean based on the activities that user did with that email, this is how you get the insight? So I would then click move to focused inbox or move to junk, or like all these actions is what's being considered here, or how do you get these insights?
Yes, that's absolutely right. So we look at multiple parameters, like say if somebody submitted that email as bad, or they moved that particular email to their junk folder, or the vice versa, right? Like moving it from their junk folder to their inbox, or completely deleting that particular email, or what type of action they take on this. So all of these are considered and we come up with that reputation.
Okay, so what is if someone reads the email but then read it and delete it? That's what I do. Like I scan it, I read it, and then I delete it. I still don't archive it.
We only consider negative actions. So delete is not much of a powerful negative action there. So the value of that will be a little diminished when compared to moving something to junk folder or moving something to quarantine or submitting a message.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes. So 50 here means that you're setting a threshold and telling this simulation that, hey, if a sender has a quality of greater than 50, I might still consider them to be a good sender, even though they have a very bad BCL value. So, for example, a sender might be having BCL value of 9, but then the sender quality is 90. That means we as a whole consider that particular sender as bad because the whole community is considering that as bad.
Yeah.
But then this particular tenant seems to like messages coming from this particular sender. This is where this tool comes alive, that it looks at the user preferences and the tenant preferences, not just what everyone feels about that particular sender.
Yeah, I mean, every company organization is different in that they might
Exactly.
interact with that email because it's important for their business, but it might not be important to many other businesses. Wow. Yeah, cool. So what's next in the demo?
So, Haika, if you look at the screen now, both current bulk email threshold as well as new bulk email threshold is set to 7. And once I click on simulate, you see that the numbers on the middle section are not changing. But now, say, if I go and click on 6 and if I click on simulate, you see that 0 appearing there on the mid section. So that is telling me that I'll be actually not delivering around 181K emails to the customer's inbox if they actually move the bulk slider to number 6. So now the admin has some level of insight into what, if we move the slider, what amount of emails will be impacted. But that's not all. Like, they want to know more about it. Like, what kind of emails are this? Which are the senders who are being blocked with this particular setting? So once the admin, they move down and look at the sender details, they will have all this information.
Is it also important to look at, let's say, the subject, right? It could be, I don't know, do this, do that, urgent, newsletter, or is it really just important to know who the sender is?
So we are working on that type of detections as well. So those run in the background, but for the customers, they only see this particular sender reputation because the system is designed that way to handle the senders rather than the emails.
It's also privacy, right? You never know. I
Yes.
mean, yeah. Mm.
But these type of detection happen under the hood and customers might not be able to see it. But there are like few exciting things which are coming up. Again, I don't want to claim anything in this particular session, but customers will see a lot of improvements coming in bulk space in future.
Thank you.
Okay, so now here you can see that there is the sender details. You see that there is danny.alice660@hotmail.dk. And this particular sender has a BCL score of 1 and simulation sender a quality of 1. That's the reason we are saying that the sender will be blocked. That is true. And is this a potential false positive? It's not, because the simulation sender threshold which you set above, that is at 50. That means you're saying that only the senders who have quality above 50, only those I'll be considering them as good. But this particular sender has 1, so this won't be considered as a potential false positives. So now let's go and filter. We have a filter above this which says all senders now. Once you go and click that, you'll be able to select potential false positives. So now here we're talking about once we filtered on potential false positives, now you'll be able to see only those senders whom you are actually interested in. So now you have a whole list of senders, you know, their BCL levels and their sender quality. So if you look at the first one, which is Bob, they have a sender quality of 83. That means 83% of emails from this particular sender is wanted. Once you're moving the bulk threshold to 6, this particular sender will be blocked by the BCL policy, and it might cause a potential false positive because it is above your simulation sender threshold. So now here is where the admin needs to take a preemptive action. They need to go look at this particular sender, understand their details, and see if they want to add this particular sender to an allow list, so that even though it is blocked by the BCL policy, they can still be allowed in their system. So let's go look at these particular senders details. So once you click on the Bob Adatum 4204, a pop-up will open on your right side, which gives you the whole sender information. So it tells you how many messages the sender received from this particular sender, that is 360, and number of messages in inbox is 299. How many messages went to junk? It's just one. And the admin settings is block. So currently the admin has blocked this particular sender from sending emails. So there are three admin settings which are actually which can come up here. The first one is block. The second one is allow. The third one is none. That means admin has not taken any action on this. So if you read through all of this, you'll get a sense of what users want as well as what admins want. If you look at the left side bottom ones, right, it says that 0 users have moved the email from junk to inbox, or 0 users have moved from inbox to junk. So basically at user level, this particular sender is wanted, but at admin level, this particular user is unwanted. So now it's on admin to take a call whether they want to really allow this sender or they don't want to allow this sender. So yeah, that's a trick here. As I said in the beginning, bulk is a tough problem to solve. It's not like phishing. I mean, phishing is a tough problem to solve, but it's not like phishing. Whereas phishing, everything is unwanted. But when you're talking about a bulk email, admin might feel they don't want it, but users might feel they want it. So there are many complexities, and it's not like one shirt fits all. So yeah, that's where this tool helps.
So, but Puneet, of course, you worked with customers throughout developing that feature. How do they work with it? Is this like something where you say, okay, I set 2 hours aside today and I'm going through this? Or is this like also a recurring task, I would assume, when you see more coming in again? Or what is their work with it? Like how?
Yeah, that's a good question. So this is a policy setting, right? So once you set the policy, most of it will be taken care by the policy itself. So once you spend those first 2 hours, because this takes some time. It's not like you just go click something, magically everything happens in the back. It's not like that. You need to spend some time, understand the user preferences and then preferences. Once you spend those 2 hours, the recurring task will be very less. It will be very minimal. They can come back here. They can look at a sender whom they feel is getting a lot of submissions and stuff, and they can see if they want to allow that particular sender or not.
I mean, but this is a very agile, not business, but emails, right? You know, are very agile. Like there's new newsletters coming, there's a new campaign coming or something. So I would assume that you would go back at some point and review the senders again to see if something has been moved out of the threshold or if there's something new popping up.
Yep, that's definitely there. I mean, I will suggest not just the bulk simulation, but the policy review needs to happen every month, so that you keep all the policies fresh, as well as you need to review your table senders, allows and blocks, because we have seen many cases where the admins have themselves allowed an email and that was causing phishing submissions. So there needs to be a recurring work on this. They need to go back and review and stuff. So that needs to happen for sure.
Yeah, but you know, that's a good suggestion. Go back every month and make sure that you have that, so people, you know, don't forget and set this. So, Puneet, we just showed how you have less emails. So basically moving the slider to a higher number. So let's have a look at how it looks like if you move that slider down and how many more emails are being delivered.
Sure, Heiko. Let's do that. So once you move the bulk slider to 8, now on the mid section, you can see that we are actually allowing 85,000 more emails. So as I said again, like now at least the admin has some kind of figure in his head, which he can go and talk to his leadership, say that, hey, if you move the slider, we'll be allowing 85,000 more emails into the system. So once you start allowing more emails into the system, the FPs won't happen. The FNs happen because these are new senders who are coming, who are allowed into the system. So once you do the simulation part, and if you look at the sender details headers, these headers are actually changed now. Previously, if you look at right bottom, now it is new sender allowed, but previously it used to be new sender blocked. And similarly, it used to be potential false positives. Now it is potential false negatives. So the system automatically changes these headers and shows you all the information.
So maybe a little bit for context, because 85,000 emails more is like, whoa. What's the size of your organization here? How many users does this test net have? Like, what is I don't know, like a 5,000 people organization? Do they deal with these high numbers or?
Yeah. So for this particular demo, right, I'm using dummy data. So these are not real, but you usually see these numbers with larger tenants who have to manage like thousands of users. They usually get emails in this volume.
Wow. Okay. And the last question, like for this, is this part of our E5 license or E3 in Office? Do you know?
Yes, yes. This is an EOP feature. So actually, you can get some of these values through advanced hunting queries, but then we figured that bulk needs to be democratized, and it needs to be available for everyone, because there are like many people who are suffering with bulk emails getting into the system, or they're missing out on bulk emails. So we said that, hey, let's do this feature for all EOP, and customers will be able to take benefit of it. So again, to complete the picture, right? Like let's look at Bob's sender details in depth. So if you see this particular sender, the Bob sent around 18K emails in last 60 days, and already all of these emails are actually blocked by admin. If you look at the admin setting, these are blocked. So there is no scope of this becoming an FN because all of these are already blocked and stuff. So that's how you kind of simulate and play around with these two sliders here, that is new bulk email threshold and simulation sender quality threshold, to figure out what is needed for your users and how does this fit into your tenant and what all preemptive actions you can take so that you don't have to raise all this FP submissions, FN submissions, and so on.
Wow. Puneet, I know that this was such a big topic. I mean, we had calls internally. I know you had, again, design partners, customers to work with. I'm super excited for everyone to get this feature into their tenants, and also maybe to get you back when you mentioned something more is coming. Always exciting to bring you back and then discuss the new features. With that, I think, thank you so much, Puneet, for your time, for your preparation, and for coming to the show.
Thank you, Haika. I think this is a very good opportunity for me to showcase the product and also help customers reaching their end goals. Thank you.
Yes, because it's might be a easy feature, but I don't think so. Like, I learned a lot. And I think everybody take your time to get used to it and familiarize yourself with, and don't just like change the values, but see what's happening. So thank you so much. And I hope everyone out there also learned a lot, and talk soon. Bye.